So today we had another somewhat weekly Warriors Den live stream. And this week we had last season's State of Balance update, which is where UB releases the pick rates, win rates, and win matrix for a season. So this time around we'll be looking at last season's data, the season 10 data, and look at what happened last season. Also today we got a small patch and new content of the week. As always though, if you do watch these videos regularly, I'd really appreciate it if you sub to the channel, as it really helps me out. And lastly, before we start, if you hear any noise in the background, there's a tree being cut down or having its branches chopped off next door, and I'm not going outside to yell at people with chainsaws and pole saws. Now let's not waste any more time and get right into it. Alright, so before we get into the State of Balance, I want to quickly go through the small patch we got today and the new content of the week. So the patch didn't include much, just two things and their bug fixes. The first of which being a fix for Conqueror. If you weren't aware, there was a bug where Conk's Shield Basher feat could damage whoever Conk was locked onto if he threw out a Shield Bash and didn't hit them. It would damage his opponents if he would hit things like walls and minions, which was strange, but now that's being fixed, so Conqueror can no longer damage people from far away. The next thing they fixed had to do with Nabushi's bleed. They fixed an issue that prevented bleed status inflicted by Nabushi from being cleansed by actions which should normally cleanse bleeding effects. So for some reason, Nabushi's bleed after this last update was behaving strangely, and the bleed wouldn't be cleansed from things like healing points and Shaman's Bite, but now it should behave as normal, and that was it. Also, we've got probably one of my favorite effects added to this game, an effect that's been requested for a pretty long time now, as we've seen it in countless memes, and that's the glowing eyes effect. I genuinely enjoy this effect. I've had a lot of fun just looking at it, just because it fits so well with so many emotes and finishers, especially ones where your hero looks right into the camera or right into your opponent's eyes. I'm honestly just looking forward to seeing what the community comes up with when it comes to these, as it's really funny to look at to me. I just can't believe UB actually added a meme into the game other than the penguin walk, but we don't talk about the penguin walk. And finally, tomorrow, double XP starts, so be sure to save at least 3 of your orders for tomorrow so you can finish them while double XP is active. I'd recommend repping up your Warlords, Centurions, and Gladiators in preparation for the testing grounds that begin in 2 weeks. Now that is all out of the way, let's look at Season 10 State of Balance. I'm not going to talk about these all day. I'll probably just talk about top 3 and anything that surprises me. Otherwise we'd be here for like 40 minutes. But let's start off looking at the duel data. So looking at full pop for duels, we see exactly who we thought we'd see at the top. Raider is sitting pretty at number 1 with a 62% win rate for Season 10 in full pop, followed by Hitokiri at 60%, surprisingly followed by Shigoki at 59%, and Lawbringer, the other hero who received some work, is sitting at 56%. Raider is no surprise, he got his buff and chaos ensued. He was really strong at the start of Season 10 and they brought him down a bit, but he remained pretty powerful all throughout the season, and he's still powerful here in Season 11. He's easy to play, has access to great damage, can get to his armor easily and quickly, and he makes his opponent make decisions. I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the top 3 next season when we get another State of Balance. Hitokiri, a pretty good duelist in full pop. Most people don't run away from her or didn't run away from her. Not only was she new and people had to get used to her, she's got that really early starting hyper armor that allows her to go for parries on light timing and trade with heavies. She's got nice chain pressure with the kick, sweep, or feint mix up as well. Pretty good duelist. Shigoki at number 3 was a bit of a surprise at 59% in full pop. I think this just boils down to a lot of players choosing not to escape his pressure, but rather play his game and get caught in his mix, sitting in his face and trying to figure out if he'll let the unblockable fly or if he's going to feint or soft feint into Demon's Embrace. Pair that with nice damage and armor, and I can see why he's up there. Now, what surprised me more than Shigoki being so high was seeing Warden so low, all the way at the bottom, below even Peacekeeper at 43%. He's even really low in Platinum and up, which I know isn't the best way of taking data, but still, that's really low for Warden, who is honestly one of the best duelists in the game, mainly because of his shoulder bash being so good. The rest of his kit is pretty meh, but the bash alone makes up for all of that. Scraping the bottom of the barrel with Warden is Peacekeeper. There's really no surprise there. PK's been sitting toward the bottom of these lists for a while now. Yubi says they'll keep trying to push her up one change at a time, which is alright, but I really think they should just go ahead and let us chain from dagger cancel. We also see Gladiator and Centurion towards the bottom, Warlord sitting like right in the middle, and hopefully we'll see all three of them move their way up after they get their improvements. When we look at Platin above, we still see Raider, Shigoki, Hitokiri, Lawbringer, and Jang Jun at the top, with the gap widening between first and second. And rather than Warden being at the bottom here, we see Gladiator and Centurion, with Glad being at a painful 39% and Cent being at 42%. Again, I'm hoping to see both of them rise with their changes. We also see Berserker down here, fourth from the bottom at 43%. Again, pretty surprising considering Zerk is one of the best duelists in the game. He's also pretty low in full pop at 46%. Now here are the pick rates for duels. In full pop you see the more popular heroes being picked the most, of course, those being Warden, Orochi, Lawbringer, Raider, Centurion, and Kensei. And as with every season, the new hero will be up there, so we see Hitokiri in the top 6. The Wulin fill out the bottom 3, with Nusha being picked less than 1% of the time in duels. Tiandi and Jang Jun also sit at a 1.4% and 1.6% pick rate respectively, and we see poor Peacekeepers sitting down there at 1.8%, while Warlord sits right above her at 2%, and I'm sure we'll see that number rise. In Plat Plus, nothing too crazy going on, except we see that Raider shoots up to first at 12.1%, and Lawbringer sits in second. This is of course because of their improvements, and at the bottom things are looking the same, consisting of the exact same heroes as full pop, except shuffled around a bit. Now for Dominion, when we look at the win rates, of course we see Raider at the top of full pop at 55.6%, and we all know why, so I'm not going to go into it. He's followed by Aramusha, who is again really high up on this list. A bit surprising for sure, but there he is atop of another one of these lists. Jang Jun is in third place. JJ is a really good fours hero, so this doesn't surprise me at all. Then the list just sort of trickles down with nothing too crazy going on. I did expect to see Shinobi a bit higher in these lists, but he's third from the bottom in full pop and middle of the pack for the top 4%. Actually, now that I look at it, a lot of assassins are towards the bottom in fours. Shaman, Nusha, Orochi, Shinobi, Peacekeeper, and Gladiator. I'd say this partially has to do with Reflex Guard not being that great. Shaolin's down there too. Of course, Reflex Guard isn't the only reason why they're down there, it's just something that they all have in common. Now on the pick rates for Dominion, Raider, Hitokiri, Lawbringer, and Black Prior take up the top 4 spots in both overall and top 4% pick rates, with Raider having a crazy high 17.3% pick rate in the top 4%. That's almost a fifth of all picks. That is crazy to me. Of course, we see a lot of pink towards the bottom, pink being the Wulin, except for Jang Jun, who's pretty high up in top 4%. But other than that, they're towards the bottom. People just really don't connect with the Wulin as well as they do with some of the other heroes in this game, with Nusha again being at the bottom. I do want to ask you guys really fast, how do you feel about Nusha? Is there a reason you don't play her? Do you find her annoying, or do you just not like her style? I'm really curious. We also see PK at the bottom of both charts again. And finally, let's look at Breach really fast. At the top of both full pop and top 4% is Jang Jun. No surprise there. JJ again is a really nice pick for Breach. In full pop, he's followed by Raider, Hitokiri, Lawbringer, and Aramusha sneaks his way up there again. And in the top 4%, JJ is followed by Blackprior, Raider, Armusha, and again, Lawbringer. So not too much changing there. Towards the bottom of each list, we see Assassins filling out most of it, with Highlander sliding down there as well. And for pick rates, at the top is the new hero of last season, Hitokiri, followed by, of course, Raider, then Blackprior, Warden, and Lawbringer, with the same assortment of heroes still sitting at the bottom. And that was about it for the State of Balance. I didn't put up the competitive tier lists because those are always available for everyone to look at on the competitive For Honor subreddit. I already know what the comments will say. They'll say something about Raider being so high up on every list, but honestly, we already knew that he'd be high on every list. Raider can do a little bit of everything, and he can do it well. He can 1v1 just fine. He's nice to have in a gank. He can hold his own while being ganked. He's a solid team fighter. He can clear mid pretty fast. He does a lot of damage, and he can do it all pretty easily. It shouldn't really be a surprise that Raider is pretty high up in pick rates and win rates. Will we see him slide downwards? Not much. If we do, it'll be a few spots, but I'm pretty sure Raider is going to stay the way he is. We just have to hope that Yubi does a great job while working on other heroes so that they're powerful as well. Anyways, that was about it for the Den today. Nothing too crazy. I'm a little surprised we didn't hear anything about Yorm, considering he was the highlight of this season, but oh well. That's all I've got for this video. Next Thursday, we are getting another live stream, and I believe they said we were going to be talking about the testing grounds and how all of that will work. So be sure to come back and check that out, as that's sort of what I've been looking forward to in terms of For Honor, as Yorm has already sort of just settled in for me, and with there being no big hero improvement or anything like that, there wasn't much to really look at in Season 11. As always though, I do want to hear what you guys think, so talk to me down in the comments about anything we talked about in this video. And as usual, if you like the video, feel free to leave a like and sub if you're new, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.